Hello and welcome to the newest episode of Show Me Your Diamond podcast. I'm Giulia Castelli and the newest diamond on my podcast is Anthony Tan. Welcome. He's a molecular and optimal hydration specialist. Wow, Anthony, can you tell us what is optimal and molecular hydration specialist?
Well, thank you very much for having me here today. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for having me, Julia. As we said, my name is Anthony Tan. I specialize in molecular hydration. I basically love everything there is to know about water. Okay.
Why water?
Well, a lot of people actually place a lot of attention on nutrition and food, but we neglect our body in terms of water. Don't forget we are 80% water. Our brains, our lungs, our kidneys, it's 70-80% water. Even our skeletal structure is 20% water. So water is extremely important to us.
And we are also born in water. So tell me, how did you get into becoming a hydration specialist?
Oh, it's a bit of a long story. My background is actually in fashion, and I used to suffer a lot from insomnia. I had trouble sleeping. I had skin issues. I had rashes. I had eczema and psoriasis. I had severe hay fever. I used to take Zyrtec, Telfast, things that you buy over the prescription from your GP at the very highest dose. And my hay fever lasts from March all the way through to October.
Wow.
And when I get on the train, I get on the tubes, I'll be sneezing and coughing, even during summer, even during winter, and people would think there's something wrong with me.
Oh, I can imagine.
And when I take these medicines, it makes me very lethargic. It makes me extremely tired. And I even had injections. I even went private and took a really heavy dose of injections for my hay fever. So and I thought, okay, I need to do something different. And I was then introduced. This is about 7-8 years ago. I was introduced to looking at health. At a more naturopathic way, at a more complementary way, and then my brother, who is a medical doctor, he's a GP, he's a medical doctor, but he also studied nutrition. He has his own clinic now that specializes in complementary and alternative medicine. And he said, Anthony, you need to take a look at this. You need to take a look at health from a different perspective. And he said, look, there are different types of water, which is what we're going to talk about today.
So what are the types of water that we drink, and what water do you drink?
Okay, so before we get into that, I think we first need to understand the different types of water available, and the water that I used to drink. I think that most people in the UK, most people in London drink from either tap water or Brita filter jug, right?
Yes.
Or even or bottled water. So first of all, anybody who lives south of Birmingham, anybody who lives in London, you can actually go to Thames Water, for example. If you live in London, you can go to Thames Water and you can download you put in your postcode and you can download a full report. There's you'll find over 200-300 chemicals in your tap water. Everything from E. coli, salmonella, staph, lead, which is carcinogenic, it causes cancer causing, heavy metals, something called PFA and PCOs, which are basically those non-stick frying pan, those non-stick pans. Yeah. So you'll find those chemicals, or they're also known as forever chemicals, because they never break down in the environment, and you'll find those in our tap water. And we drink it. So the government actually has regulation. Their objective is to bring safe water into our family home. But safe doesn't necessarily mean healthy.
And let me tell you something very important and very interesting I heard about. Once I also started being very interested into natural ways of being healthy and drinking a better water. I was actually told that in our tap water, the government puts lye, which means this is a chemical to preserve the pipes so they don't go rusty. But what about the pipes in our own body?
Yeah. So lye is basically a highly alkaline chemical, And one of the reasons is just like chlorine, it kills viruses and bacteria. So again, it makes it safe, but not necessarily healthy for our body over long periods of time. And that's why a lot of people develop things like skin conditions, eczema, psoriasis, or even cancer. So the pipes in London and UK are extremely old, and so it can rust over time, and that's why chlorine and lye is used there to treat the heavy bacteria and heavy chemicals. Yeah.
This is outrageous. I find it outrageous, and now that I have gone to also, I'm very passionate about helping people heal naturally without operations and without medication through the coaching and the therapy that I do. And this is also, I believe, drinking the healthy water is so important. And I'm very passionate about, now that I know about this, spreading the word, because so many people do not know that cancer, eczema, and so many other conditions could be helped by simply changing the water we drink. That's why I invited you to this episode, because you're so knowledgeable. When I actually decided to start drinking good water, and it was actually an impulse. I just feel this is what I need. But many people ask me deeper questions, and you're so knowledgeable about the water. You know it more from scientific point of view. Could you tell our viewers and listeners, so what is so special? What is the water we should be drinking, and what qualities does the water need to possess?
Yeah, very good question. So I think before we talk about the water we drink, I first looked at the water I was currently drinking at the time, or what most people were drinking at the time. So like, what do you currently drink at the moment, or what are your friends and family currently drinking at the moment?
I used to drink tap water and bottled water.
Okay.
Especially, I was trying to get not the plastic bottles but the glass bottles. Now, myself, my family, and also my family in Bulgaria, actually, we all drink the good water, the alkaline water, the living water. But most of my friends and clients, they still drink bottled water and think that maybe if it's in a glass, it's better. So please tell us.
Yeah. So I used to buy bottled water too, because everybody at some point knows that there is something in tap water. You hear about it in the presses, in the papers, etc. And then we buy plastic bottles. But the thing with plastic bottles, you have to remember, they are made of petrochemicals, and petrochemical leaches back into the water if they're exposed to heat. That's one thing. And the second thing is a lot of these water, like there's lots of really big brands in the marketplace that source their water from high mountain places. But the thing with these water is, don't forget, they have been stored for a long periods of time. 6 months to 3 years before it even gets to you. So yes, it's great if you can have Mount Everest or the Alps in your back garden, and you can have
Fiji water.
Exactly. And you can have these alive water if it's fresh. If it's would you eat like a 6-month-old apple, right? So if it's fresh, it's great, but because of storage, because transportation, by the time it gets to you, we call it dead water. And we all want to be drinking alive water. And the other thing, it's the environment. The plastics. Where do most of these plastics end up? They're all end up in oceans, in landfills. And it takes forever to break down. So the environment is one thing, and then the health aspect is the other. So you mentioned glass bottles. Yes, that's the other alternative too. But the thing to remember here is being eating or drinking as fresh as possible. So we call these water also dead water, and whereas the other alternative would be alive water. So what makes water alive and what makes water dead? Again, it's the point of source and how long you're able to keep it in there for. So don't forget, our bodies is an electrical current. Right? We have an electrical charge. Every cells in our body have an electrical charge, So we're an electrical charged body, and these water, if you collect it fresh from source, not only do they have all the nutrients and minerals available to you, but they also have an electrical charge if it gets through to our body. So it's important to drink what we call alive living water. Yeah.
And so you mentioned you're optimal and molecular hydration specialist. Could you tell us what is the optimal water and what is molecular?
Yes, so there's a few properties we have to bear in mind here when it comes to water. Water is H2O, and so what makes water optimal is a few things. First of all, it needs to contain antioxidant. So how does water contain antioxidant? Because now there's something called ORP. ORP stands for oxidation reduction potential. So every water being alive has the potential to slow down the aging process, if you like. So we're all aging. We're all sitting here. We're suffering from inflammation. We're all looking for ways to slow down the aging process. And drinking water that is alive then slows down the aging process. And so this water contains something called oxidative reduction potential. It has the potential to reduce inflammation. It has the potential to reduce oxidation. So that's why we eat things like blueberries. Give me some examples of some antioxidants you take on a day-to-day basis.
Well, my water and blueberries and other berries.
Yeah, like spinach, for example, green things that are alkaline, things that contains a lot, like oranges, for example, lemons. They have a lot of antioxidants. But water can also contain antioxidants. Water can also have the potential to slow down the aging process if it's charged, if it's processed in a correct manner. So that's antioxidant. So it slows down the aging process. It has an oxidative potential, because if water that comes through a tap or comes through into a bottle, they've lost that charge because of storage and because of, you said, chemicals in our tap water. So they've lost that charge. The other properties of water, alive water, is something called alkalinity. I mean, we've all heard about alkalinity, correct?
So how can water be alkaline?
Okay, so again, we look at nutrition, we look at food. We all take, so food, for example, we pay so much attention to nutrition, which is important. There are food that are very alkaline, like spinach, for example, broccoli. And alkalinity, as we know, again, slows down the inflammation, slows down the aging process. But water can be alkaline too. So how can water be alkaline? So water, your tap water, neutral water, has a pH of around 7. Now our blood pH is around 7.36. If it ventures either side of that pH, something starts to go wrong in our body. Now, people always ask me, so why now? Why do we pay so much importance to alkalinity now at this time? My parents, my grandparents have been drinking bottled water, have been drinking tap water, all these decades, nothing goes wrong. But now, why now? So the thing is, our food is not what it used to be anymore. The way it's grown is not how it used to be grown anymore. Is the environment, our environment that we're surrounded with, is it the same anymore? We are now combined with these smartphones and 5G, 6G coming along very soon, 4G, and these, our environment is no longer the same as it used to be in the past. And that's why, we need to pay more attention to the things that we put into our body. So yes, alkalinity, 7.36 is our blood pH. So, for example, also fast food. We want convenient. We want something immediately. We want it now. So again, fast food can be quite detrimental to our health, and it speeds up the aging process through the acidity. So on the scale of pH, you have 0 to 14. So 0 being extremely acidic and 14 being very, very alkaline. So again, we want to try and stay as neutral as possible. And so water, through the correct kind of processing, can be slightly alkaline, and it starts to help us to detox a lot better, and to help us to live a more alkaline lifestyle. It generates a lot more electrical charge and generates a lot more energy into our body. Yeah.
So ladies, pay attention. We heard anti-aging. And we heard antioxidant, because for the ladies, obviously, those looking good and slowly aging is very important. And nowadays, actually, for a lot of men, this is important as well. But I noticed since I have started drinking alive water, my skin is so much better, and I get complimented so much, and I'm not really using any special creams.
So sorry, just on that point about alkalinity, when we're born very alkaline. Why? Because that fetus, 9 months in the embryonic chamber, that fluid is alkaline. Okay, so when the baby is born, it requires that energy. So being alkaline gives you a lot of energy, and it gives you a lot of clarity. So when you're born alkaline, so it gives you that energy to grow your bones and become healthier. But as we age, we become more and more acidic. Again, just through all the fast food, the lifestyle we lead, the stress, smoking, alcohol. What else? What else causes aging? What else causes us to inflame? Right?
Yeah. So is it correct that inflammation means acidity and means diseases, and very often it means cancer?
Yeah, so everyone sitting here currently at the moment listening to this is going through a stage of inflammation. It's basically aging. So we want to find ways to slow down the aging process, and alkalinity is one of the many ways we can do it. And so not only do we sort of eliminate all the sort of bad modalities that are bad for our health, but alkalinity can help slow down the aging process, not just through nutrition, but also through the water that we drink.
There's something that I have heard about the water being having bigger molecules, and then different type of water having small molecules. How important is that?
Yeah, when I first heard about molecules and small water, big water, I was thinking, what? This is crazy. I thought water was just water, surely, right? But then we think about there are different types of oil. There are different types of oil we put into our car. There's different types of cooking oil, different grades of wine. Why not water? So there's a really good study. Look at someone called Dr. Emoto. Dr. Emoto. So he's one of the founding fathers of energy in water. That our body, the water in our body, has a certain frequency. And they listen to each other, they hold memories, they hold a certain charge, and what we say to our body and what we say to our water can affect the properties of the water in our body. So, if I can hold up this glass of tea, and if I say, I love you, and if you look at it under a really powerful microscope, the properties of that water change to a really beautiful structure. There's tons of experiments you can find on Dr. Emoto on how frequency can affect water. Or if I say, I hate you, there's a very bad negative word, it's listening, and again the structure of that water molecule changes. So if that's just water, imagine what's going through our body. What type of water we're going through our body, the frequencies, the energy that's going through our body, and how that's affecting us on a day-to-day basis. Right. So when we talk about anti-aging, which is a very important topic, everybody wants to look young, don't they? Well, you look young and beautiful,
young
right?
and healthy, and live longer.
Yes. Look at Julia here today. So anti-aging has one of the things that we should look at when it comes to anti-aging is something called microstructuring. So, like you said, think of it as big water and tiny water. So tap water, molecularly, is big water. And whereas water that's gone through a certain process, if the water is tiny, if the water molecules is very, very big, it's going to take a lot more energy, and it's going to take a lot more processing to get into the cells of your body. So in other words, if you have toxins, you have virus and bacteria, it's going to take a lot more energy to get into the process. It will, but it requires more energy. Whereas molecularly structured water that's tiny, it's able to transport nutrients, essential nutrients and energy into the cells of your body, which means you can detox a lot more efficiently, which means you can hydrate your body a lot more efficiently, which means you can make tea and coffee taste a lot better, and we can use it in your smoothies and in your day-to-day water drinks. and you'll actually save a lot more money and be able to detox a lot more efficiently, like I said.
I liked hearing saving money, and I'm sure a lot of listeners and viewers would like to hear save money. How do we save money by drinking this living water?
Saving money is probably one of the biggest topics we hear every day now these days, right? Especially now with the new budget release. So like I said, I used to buy bottled water.
So it's
because
a big
I thought that was
expense
it's a big expense.
We also know that we need to drink a lot, so lots of plastic bottles.
And we thought that was the healthier alternative to either like Brita filter jugs or tap water. So we used to go supermarket and just fill up our trolley with crates and crates of bottled water. But there's two things to remember here. It's bottled water. One, it's not only is it highly expensive, but also bad for the environment. So where do these plastic bottles end up? Where do these bottles end up?
In the ocean.
Oceans and landfill. So they're, from a money perspective, financial perspective, they're very important, very expensive. But also from a health perspective, these plastic bottles I mentioned earlier, the chemicals leaches back into the water if it's exposed to heat. And it's also dead. There's no more energy left in that water. Which also
means we're drinking some of that plastic as well.
Yes, correct. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Together with the many other chemicals.
Yeah.
And another important word I heard is environment, which means that if you stop buying the plastic bottles, and actually if you stop buying the glass waters, this is so much better for the environment. So if you're concerned about our planet, if you're concerned about your health, I believe this is the right way to go. I have 3 more questions before we close. Let me not forget my main question that I ask everyone. But before that, how do you help individuals and families to live a healthier life? How do you do
that? So we look at alternatives. We look at what are the protocols that process on a day-to-day basis, and how can we not only save them money but also help them to live a much healthier, optimal lifestyle, to live longer, to live happier. There are when it comes to anti-aging, which is first and foremost for us, there's lots of different modalities that comes into play here. Like, for example, there's something called centenarians. Centenarians are basically people around the world that live to over 100 years old. And I don't mean just living, just barely surviving. I mean at optimum level. When these guys are at 98, 90 years old, 100 years old, they're still super fit, they're still super healthy. They have, immense clarity. Don't we like that? Don't we want? All right. So there are people around the world, when you look at optimum hydration, that are centenarians, and there's a really good book called The Blue Zone. I'm sure you've seen documentaries on Netflix now about the blue zones, right? And one of these blue zones is a place in Okinawa, right, in a little island south of Japan, where people live at optimum level to over 100 years old. And these centenarians, these Okinawans, have a particular way of living. And that when we look at their diet, but also look at their lifestyle of the water that they drink, it contains all of these properties we just mentioned. It is antioxidant, it's alkaline, and it has tiny molecular structure. So there are devices, there are companies out there now currently at the moment that produce these properties of water. So if you want to maybe have a look at this, have a look at this particular website. It's called Your Healing Water, yourhealingwater.com. You can post a link, and you can have a look down there, and then you can come back to us and ask any questions.
And I always ask every person invited this question: show me your diamond. And of course, I don't expect you today to start pulling diamonds, but the question is, what is your diamond? Who is your diamond? What is the most precious thing in your life? If I had to ask.
I also ask this question quite often too. What I always ask people, what are the 3 most important things in your life? The 3 most important thing in one word for each. And the first thing I've asked this question probably nearly 1,000 times. And for me, it's health, family, and spirituality. You know, people might say wealth, people might say love and friendship, etc. But I think for me, health is first and foremost. If you don't have that health, there's no way you can enjoy and partake anything else along that spectrum.
So your health is your diamond.
Yes, absolutely.
Amazing. It's been eye-opening. I loved having this conversation with you, and hopefully a lot of people would start thinking about the water they're drinking, because that's mega important if you wanted to be healthy, if you wanted to be there for your family, and if you wanted to contribute to the world, because being healthy, everything else then stems from there. Thank you, Anthony, for sharing your knowledge, your experience. It's been amazing having you.
It's my pleasure, Julia. And so yes, I absolutely enjoyed today. So if there's anything else, just feel free to send us a message, and hopefully we'll be able to get back to you very soon. Enjoy.
Yes, do get in touch with me if you're interested to learn more about the water. Anthony will be very happy to do a demonstration for you to see. For the people who want to see something more scientific, check the pH. There's different testing methods that Anthony could demonstrate. We're happy to arrange a demonstration, and also I'm very happy to share my water with you. Do get in touch, and I'm happy to give you some supply of it for you to try it and experience the difference, the vitality, the energy, and the beauty. There's also a beauty water, but we'll tell you more on another episode, because there's so much about water.
Yeah, and I put this challenge out to everybody. Bring your water along, because I was very skeptical myself. You know, you and most of my families were all very skeptical at the very beginning. How can water be so important to our life? So, you know, when I've tested hundreds and hundreds of different brands of water, you know, so I challenge each and every single one of you, if you want to see how good your water is, bring it along and I'll test it and I'll show you how important water is, and how varied and how different water can be.
Amazing. Cheers. Thank you so much, Anthony.
You're welcome.
Let's drink a living water and be healthy.
All right. God bless. Bye-bye.
Bye.